let's get started on the next video. Oh, hey. Mom texted me her review of the last episode. Let's see. That was good. Talkulos. Yeah, I probably should do that. 1 second. Alright, it's time to talk about KEMCO now. Hello everyone, it's Kuchiri. As I said in the last episode, I am going to start kind of like a 3-part series, maybe 2-part series on KEMCO. If you're unfamiliar with KEMCO, you may have seen all their games all over the current store shelves right now on digital fronts. They've been making a whole bunch of JRPGs recently, but they've been around since 1985. They were one of the original licensors on the Nintendo Entertainment System. And they have made a bunch of games, mostly licensed games. You probably have heard of their Superman game. Other popular reviewers have talked about Crazy Castle and Bugs Bunny, but I kind of want to go over a few games that don't get talked that much. Do talk about the games that have been talked a lot. Just kind of like talk about my history with the company. In the next part, I'm going to go over those store shelves games that are out right now. But yeah, let's get right into it. Let's first talk about the very first game KEMCO developed and published. In Space Hunter, you play as the female android Altiana, going against the evil Dr. Degal and his henchmen across 7 maze-like worlds. When you boot up the game, you have a choice between one of 6 planets to fly into, each containing a maze filled with enemies and doors. In each door, you fight a group of enemies that range from weird lips to lightning symbols. Clearing these rooms will grant you either an item or a hint and kick you back out to the maze. One of these doors, however, will lead to the boss of the planet. You really don't want to find this door early unless you have found the rest of the items on the said planet. This is one of those games I will recommend a guide for so you're not missing out, since killing the boss triggers an escape sequence where you have to find your way off the planet before it goes boom, with whatever items that were left on the planet. This makes you think that this game is ripping off Metroid, female protagonists, hunting aliens, blowing up planets, but that's all coincidence. This game came out roughly a month after the first Metroid game, so they were probably in development at the same time, so not really ripping off much there. There is, however, a bunch of inspiration from the very first Legend of Zelda game, and Altiana's primary weapon, Time Bomb, is clearly an homage to Bomberman's bombs from his series. Speaking of time bombs, let's talk about the weapons you gain throughout the game. There's 8 of them and they run off your power, represented by the number at the top of the screen. You find power by killing enemies and picking up the little icons. They give about 5 power at a time. Weapons do require Altiana's power, but it's kind of weird. You need to have a minimum power to equip a weapon. For example, look at the Sonic weapon. You can't equip it unless you have at least 40 power. However, it doesn't cost 40 power to use, it only costs 1 power, and it's a great weapon to just clear out enemies because it just shoots through walls, all that great stuff. It beats Skyrim by a few decades on its shot weapon. Foos! 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 However, if you drop down to 39 power, you then can only use your Time Bomb. It's a very strange gimmick. With all the other weapons, as you go down the list, require more and more power. The final weapon requiring 250 power to even equip. Strange gimmick. Beside all that, the game is still good. It isn't like classic Zelda or Metroid. In the 20 minutes I played this game for this review, I ended up getting hooked. I would love to see this game localized and released onto the Nintendo Switch Online, or even the remake or sequel of this game. Change the enemies from lips and lightning to actual aliens and creatures, give it more RPG elements, maybe turn it into like a Metroidvania, and I could really see this game selling well. I do recommend this game for anyone looking for a non-linear retro side-scroller. Up next is the Bugs Bunny Birthday Blowout. For his 50th birthday, Bugs gets an invitation to his own birthday party and he goes on a journey through multiple stages to get there. However, the other Looney Tunes are unhappy that they never get anything special and decide because of this, they want to kill Bugs. Bit of an escalation there. It makes no sense why Tweety, who's apparently half of Bug's height, wants to murder him for having a birthday. As Bugs, you go through 24 stages dodging clocks and salt cans? KEMCO, we gotta talk about you using weird enemies in your games. Bugs can dispatch them with his trusty hammer. There isn't much range to the hammer though, so you'll be better off just avoiding enemies. You can stand on them though. Speaking of standing on objects, you collect carrots which turn into Warner Bros. Blocks that you can stand on. It's honestly a cool gimmick that I wish more platformers use. Those carrots are used at the end of every stage in a bonus lives minigame, similar to collecting coins in Mario Bros. 2 and playing the slot machine. While I do enjoy this game, I also understand why many people dislike it. If you get hit, you are unable to use your hammer until your invincibility flames go away. It makes no sense as a gamer, since every game around this time allowed you to continue attacking after you got hit and are flickering. I assume this was done intentionally to make sure you couldn't rush bosses. However, this game is very generous with your health, so it kind of balances out. I remember getting this game from my grandpa as a kid and beating it in one weekend. While the quality isn't to par with the Mario games it was inspired by, I do recommend giving this game a shot. Birthday Blowout wasn't KEMCO's first attempt at a Bugs Bunny game. I mean, technically it was KEMCO's first attempt. This is where things get kind of confusing. The Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle is a puzzle platformer game where you play as Bugs trying to navigate a maze collecting carrot. Wait, why is Sylvester green? Why are there two Sylvesters? This actually isn't a Bugs Bunny game. Japan, this was actually a Roger Rabbit game. This is kind of the norm for Crazy Castle games. For example, they made a Game Boy version alongside the Nintendo port. In America, it was still Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle. This time in Japan, it was released as a Mickey Mouse game. Same stages, just different sprites. Nearly every Crazy Castle is released this way. Here's an image of all the releases. Not counting the 2004 mobile game, there are 9 games in this series and over 20 variants of those games. The most confusing one is the second Game Boy game. Over 4 years, there was 5 releases of it. First released as Mickey Mouse 2 in Japan in April 1991, it was ported to America as The Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle 2 in September of the same year. Europe got this game as Mickey Mouse 1 in 1992, since they already had Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle 1. KEMCO decided to reskin and re-release this game in Europe 3 years later as another franchise of Hugo the Troll. Meaning if you had no idea that Hugo and Mickey Mouse were the same exact game in Europe, you possibly were buying the same exact game twice. KEMCO also did this in Japan as well with the Bugs Bunny collection. Even though Mickey Mouse 1 and 2 were there, they re-released the Bugs Bunny versions in a combo pack. So not only did KEMCO predict the Shylock attacks from Skyrim, they pulled a Skyrim before Skyrim was a thing! But to actually give my thoughts on the games, I prefer the Game Boy titles over the NES titles. The puzzle platforming fits a mobile nature better. I wouldn't mind another game in this series or a collection on the Switch to take with me on trips. They are very fun little puzzle games. Once again, it's time for me to remind you guys to subscribe, follow, get notified, sign up as a member, help support me, the channel, and if you want to see more in-depth talks about any of these games or you want to watch me Let's Play or stream them, just let me know. You can find me on Discord, Twitter, email me, and yeah, no, any kind of comment or support would be great. Don't forget, I am looking for independent musicians and artists who help make music and art for this channel so I can feature them, plug them, that kind of stuff, so I don't have to keep on finding DRM-free music for the background. If you're interested, just let me know. I'll love to promote you guys. But let's get back into it. For those wanting to get an RPG fix in, there's The Sword of Hope and its sequel for the Game Boy. Known as Selection in Japan, the game plays out similar to a point-and-click adventure game. You tell the game where you want to go, and you move on those screens, finding random encounters, searching bushes or whatever boxes show up in the little pixel. The game kind of feels like you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, like a one-on-one adventure. You can search multiple objects, hit multiple objects to see if items fall out. However, the game is very difficult and you'll likely be making your own maps through these crazy different dungeons. The sequel, which was released a few years later, kept the gameplay mostly the same, but it did allow you to have more than one party member, up to 3 party members, to navigate the bigger dungeons the game has. But if you're wondering why the UI seemed familiar, it's because KEMCO was the developer behind the Nintendo ports of the Mac Venture point-and-click series from Macintosh computers. In these games, you are thrown to different settings having to complete a quest. In Deja Vu, you're a detective who wakes up with no memories and have to piece together what happened the previous night before he is framed for some crime. In Shadowgate, you're an adventurer trying to stop an evil warlock. And finally, in Uninvited, you are a victim of a car accident trying to navigate a haunted house, finding his sister. In all 3 games, you investigate rooms, trying to solve puzzles, and more importantly, not die. It's very easy to die in these games, and trial and error of navigating through the traps is half the fun. The 3 games are part of a bundle called the 8-Bit Adventure Anthology Volume 1 for all current consoles and Steam for $8. I recommend buying a copy of this with a friend and either working together or racing each other without a guide through each of the games. If you want something fun to do, tell your friend to pick up the book in the 4th room of Shadowgate for a laugh. No matter which way you're playing, co-op or competitive. Do give all these games a try. If you haven't yet, they're all great. Last up is KEMCO's longest series from the mid-90s to early 2000s. Top Gear is a series of racing games that look ripped straight from Rad Racer on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Seriously though, I spent hours playing Rad Racer whenever I was 6. I would love a Super Nintendo game that looked just like it. Good thing this game plays pretty well too. KEMCO released free games on the Super Nintendo, each with its own improvements, such as being able to purchase upgrades for your vehicle, ability to damage cars in races, and other small improvements as the game went on. Very similar to F-Zero with the damages. Wait. Why are these strips on the road? In all, there were 14 top-tier games in as many years. I'm unsure why KEMCO stopped making this series. While the last couple of console games received negative reviews, the mobile games were still doing quite well. Hopefully KEMCO brings this series back in some way, shape, or form. So that will do it today for this part of this whole KEMCO retrospective anthology thing. I know I'm skipping a lot of games such as Prehistoric Man, which you can play right now on the Nintendo Switch Super Nintendo Online. I'm also skipping stuff like Ghost Lion, which was a Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest clone on the regular Nintendo. I'm skipping a whole bunch of smaller games. I'm also just skipping a bunch of their Nintendo 64 and after. There are videos out there on some of their late 90s, 2000s mishaps. I do recommend looking up the Dark Tomorrow Rares video. Hilarious. But sometime around 2006-07, they started diverting towards mobile RPGs, Japanese turn-based RPGs. And so the next part is I'm going to look at their games from 2007 till now. Of course, I'm not going to look at all of them. There are hundreds. But I'm going to look at a select few and see if some of the comments I've seen around the internet holds up, if they are really shovelware, if they're really cut and paste. And then finally, I got a little sneak peek of a future game that is coming out in a few weeks that hopefully I'll get a video up before the game releases. So yeah. If you want to see me go more in depth on any of the games I've talked about, or if you want to see a review on any game I didn't go over, leave your suggestions somewhere, reach out to me. But until next time, I thank you so much for clicking on this video and watching it all the way through. I've been Kuchiri, and I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys next time.